Something we're also seeing, particularly for legacy organizations, maybe a little bit less so for sort of the newly funded startups, which make up potentially most of your sort of membership of your organization, but is sort of this either lack of data or bad data, regardless of whether that data is rolling up to somebody whose official title is CRO or not. This, there just isn't enough information. Like they don't understand their own 80-20 rule or power curve. They don't know they don't have a really good profile of the difference between their average customer and their very best customer, right? And then like who's going to own that, right? And it sounds like the way you're structuring that's the CRO's job, and then he potentially has to partner more closely, he or she has to partner more closely with a CIO or a CTO, right?
Yes.
To make sure that data is collected. Obviously, marketing needs to be involved and sales needs to be involved because each of those folks are feeding this business intelligence, right? Which doesn't exist in so many cases. But in the end, right, the CRO, since they own the revenue, right, at the top level,
you're 100% right.
They need to build that, right?
That's right. And I'm working on that right now. One of my clients literally today said to me in the middle of this engagement, said, we don't know, like we're on a map in a way, but we don't really have a clear enough definition of like actually where we are right now. We sort of maybe know the neighborhood that we're in, right? We don't know what street we're on or the street address. And without that, we sort of can't really make a plan to go forward. And we've just never really put in the time because a lot of companies survive, right, on sort of this sort of organic just growth, and they're happy with it because the numbers add up at the end of the quarter. And then there are other companies who overcomplicate their metrics, right? They make them so complicated, they look at too much, and they make every data point important, right? And it becomes really hard to obfuscate between what really matters and what doesn't. And, they think anything we can measure needs to get attention. If you can measure everything, well, that's not a good thing. So to your point, you got to find out what's the right stuff to measure. And they don't know sometimes to answer those questions. And it's the chief revenue officer's job for that first, I'd say 6 months on the job to sort of create clarity, right? And I have a sort of a framework for this, right? Framework is more on the functional side first. And that's where that kind of takes place, which is where are we really? Like how messed up are we, right? Where are the breakdowns here? And what do they mean for the customers in our organization? And the second part is I have partners I work with whom kind of come in at the tail end of that and then operationalize that through the stuff that you're talking about, right? So there's a tech stack. I mean, people have to reevaluate the tech they're using because look, software salespeople are great. Like they'll make you buy their stuff. Right. And software as a strategy is a lot of ways that companies get out of this problem. Instead of figuring this out, what they do is they get, I'll use them as the bad guy. They get Salesforce and they adhere their company around Salesforce's requirements for input. And they build almost like a company that's based on a software platform, as opposed to building a strategy and then finding a software platform that sort of enables it. Right. And that takes more work. It's easier to just have a Salesforce type company come in and just say, use our software and it'll sort of build this awareness for you. But it's based on their software, not your company.